I can't tell you guys how often people call me or text me and they're so excited to move to Orlando, Florida, or one of the surrounding suburbs, and they're just not ready. They're not prepared. They don't even know what steps to take yet. So that's why I made this video. In this video, I'm gonna talk about 5 things that you need to do. You need to make sure that you do these things before moving to Orlando, Florida, or any of the surrounding Orlando, Florida suburbs. And this applies to pretty much anywhere, so make sure to watch this video. Some of the points in this video might be brand new to you, so make sure to watch every single one. And guys, stay till the end of the video because I have really good news that I want to share with you, and I don't want you to miss it. My name is Andrew Sweet. I'm your Orlando, Florida real estate advisor. Let's get into 5 things you need to know before moving to Orlando, Florida in 2025. This first one is super important, and it's something that a lot of people, they get excited and they kind of miss this one. You need to ask yourself the question, what is my timeline? You really need to lock in timeline, and the reason for that is it's going to open some doors and close others depending on what your timeline is. Your timeline is going to change a lot of factors. It's going to change, how many things you can really say no to. It's also going to change what you can actually get into. So that's something that's super important to establish before even making your move, starting to look at houses or anything. You don't want to get attached to a certain location, a certain builder, a certain model of home, or anything like that until you know your timeline, and then know that your timeline actually fits with the type of home that you want. Next, and this is absolutely the most important one, you need to get your finances in order. Are you paying cash? Most people aren't. If you are, that's great. That makes things a lot easier. You can buy what you can afford with that cash. But if you're not paying cash, you need to talk to a lender. If you don't have a lender in Orlando, Florida, it's really beneficial to work with someone who's local. I have a great partners that I work with. I can connect you. But that's such an important step, is to see how much home you can afford. What you don't want to happen is to get super excited about buying this one $500,000 home or $600,000 home. And then you go and you actually have a lender look at your financial situation, and then they realize, oh, you can only afford $450,000. And then you're having to really lower your expectations for what's available to you. And also, once you're actually ready to make a move, if you're already financed and you see the perfect home, you can put in an offer like that and potentially get that offer accepted and get in that home. It just gives you a surety that if you find the perfect home for you, we'll actually be able to put in an offer that will be accepted because we're already financed. Right after you have that timeline figured out, make sure to get financed, and it might actually end up adjusting your timeline a little bit depending on maybe your debt to income's a little too high, so you gotta wait a little bit, pay some things off, or maybe your credit score isn't where it needs to be. You need to work on that a little bit. It just depends. Getting financed should be done very, very early in the process, so please do that. And if you need to connect with a mortgage broker in the Central Florida area or in Florida in general, let me know. I have some amazing business partners who I know would help you out and make the process so smooth for you. The third thing you need to do, so financing, right? We've done financing, we have figured out our timeline. The next thing you need to do is, if you're moving to Central Florida, reach out to me. Even if you and I aren't a great fit, I have business partners across the spectrum here in Central Florida. I don't work a ton with investors, so I usually send my investor clients to a friend of mine who is incredible at investing and finds a ton of awesome off-market deals. Or if you're looking more into the Ocala area, I don't live that close to there, and I don't make that drive that often. I like to work in Central Florida, more of Winter Garden, Orlando, Winter Park. And so I'll send people looking in Ocala and areas around Ocala, like the Villages and other places like that. I'll send them to my friend and his team, which are amazing up there. So if you're ready to make that move, make sure to reach out to me. You can give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I am here for you guys to either work with you personally, or I'll make the decision to connect you with somebody who I think will do an even better job for you than I can. So now we have figured out timeline. We have gotten you connected with a mortgage broker to figure out the finances, or you're paying cash, or you're selling your home to buy a new one. It just depends. And now you've connected with me. The next thing I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you figure out your needs versus your wants. And here's why. Your needs are things that are absolutely, you cannot do without. Your needs are things like, well, I work here and I need to be this far from work, so I can only live in a 30-minute or 45-minute bubble from my workplace. That's a need. Another need is like, well, I can afford this. So like certain suburbs might not be available to me if I'm in the $500,000 range. Like it'd be tough to get into Windermere with just $500,000. I know that sounds crazy, but prices are going up here in Central Florida. You might need to live in one of the more further away suburbs depending on your budget. But if budget's really not an issue for you, like if you're 600, 700 plus, then we can look anywhere you want. It just really depends on, again, what those needs are. Wants are things that aren't absolutely necessary, but they'd be preferred. Things like square footage. If you can find a smaller home that fits your needs, sometimes you need to make that sacrifice depending on your budget. Another want is things like certain specific communities. If you're like locked in on one community and only one community, but it's just not panning out and your timeline is burning up, you need to lower your expectations for that specific community unless you're willing to wait, or your financial situation allows you to wait as long as you need, or just put in an offer. So many people get caught up in less important things like what they want in the home. Like, I need the kitchen to look this certain way. I need the walls to be this color. I need the floors to look like this. I need this. I want this. I want this. And you're not actually focusing on your needs. And the problem with that is some people it will be the perfect home, the absolute perfect home, but the wall is the wrong color, and so they don't buy it. All you gotta do with a wall that's not the right color is paint it the right color in the future. Or if a kitchen isn't perfect, buy the home if it has everything you need, if it's in the best location for you, has the right amount of bedrooms, close enough to schools for your kids, close enough to work for you. If it has your needs, but doesn't have the right kitchen and you don't go for it, you're going to regret it when someone scoops that property up. Sometimes it's okay to make sacrifices on your wants to support your needs, because in the future, you can always just get the things you want in that home. You can always change the floors. You can always change the wall color. You can always upgrade your kitchen over time. So make sure, focus on your needs before your wants. And this really just depends on your financial situation and what you can afford. If you're someone who has an abundance of finances and finances aren't an issue at all, then obviously you can focus on your wants a little bit more, but it's always better to be wise about things. And the final thing that we need to do, it's kind of been touched on throughout this entire video, but the final thing we need to do before moving, before even coming here, is we figure out where you're going to look into. The reason I say that is because Orlando is vast. Orlando is made up of many different counties with many different suburbs with many different neighborhoods. There is Claremont on the west side. There is Oviedo on the east. Both have great things about them. There's Lake Nona, St. Cloud, Dr. Phillips, Windermere, Winter Garden, Kissimmee, Lake Butler. There's Ocoee and Gotha and Mineola and Groveland and Mascot and Apopka and Mount Dora. There are so many suburbs and neighborhoods that make up Orlando, Florida. So after we figure out your timeline, after we get the financing figured out, after we have conversations about your wants and needs, or I connect you with one of my business partners, then what we do is we take all of that information and we lock in on 1 to 3 suburbs that fit the criteria that we've created. It's so important to get all of that stuff figured out, and it really doesn't take a long time, but get all of that stuff figured out first, because it makes finding the right suburb so much easier and it makes the process go way smoother. It's kind of like what I touched on before. If your budget is $500,000, well, you're gonna have to look in specific neighborhoods to really get a lot of options. $500,000 is not going to get you a lot in Windermere. It's pretty much not gonna get you anything in Dr. Phillips. It might get you some townhomes in Winter Garden though. So maybe you're into a townhome and $500,000 will swing it in Winter Garden. But $500,000 in St. Cloud will get you a really nice single family home. Same in Ocoee. $500,000 goes a long way in Ocoee, in Mineola, in Mascot, even in parts of Claremont. So it just depends, but we need to get all of that other information first and then focus in on different amazing suburbs, you know, maybe 3 of them, maybe a little more if you really need more variety in the Central Florida area to lock in that perfect home that fits your needs and just allows for this whole moving process, which can be so stressful, to go way smoother. And that's why I made this video for you guys. I want your move to Central Florida to go as smooth as possible. I want it to be stress-free. I want you to be working with someone who fits you best, depending on what you're trying to do and where you're trying to move. That's why I make these videos for you guys, educating you on Central Florida. So if you want to work with me or one of my business partners, make sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email so we can talk about what you want to do and we can figure all this information out together. And make sure, guys, to like, subscribe, and press that notification bell because it helps me out so much and it pushes this content out to people just like you who are looking to make their move to the Orlando, Florida area. And now if you could just stay with me for a little bit longer, I have some really good news that I want to share with you. Hey guys, really quick good news here. Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through him. If you know what that means, seek a deeper relationship with Jesus Christ. If you don't know what that means, I ask you to seek Jesus. He is the King of the universe, and he is the Son of God, and he saved all those who would believe in him from their sins. So seek Jesus, ask questions about him, and I'll see you in the next video.